So welcome everyone, Thursday night yoga therapy. And tonight we're going to be working with this whole area and moving into the spiritual heart as well. So just finding your spot on your mat, your floor. If you have a nice carpet to work with, you can do this in your bed as well. And I'm going to leave my socks on a little bit, but probably want to take them off at some point. A little chilly. So first of all, just decide whether you want your legs straight or you want to bend them. Oh, and I better mute you all. I forgot to do that.
Okay, sorry, I knew I was forgetting something. Okay, full start. Let's do this again. So
I'm just going to take my socks off now. Let's try this again. All right. So just finding your spot, neck and shoulders, spiritual heart. Decide whether you want to keep your legs straight or bent. Inhale, bringing your arms up. Now again, if you've got a shoulder difficulty, you can have a bolster behind you that you bring your arms to. And exhale, bringing your hands down. Just do this in your own time. You can also do this one arm at a time if you prefer. Inhale, coming up, exhale, coming down. Can you nod your chin in at the end of your inhale? How does that feel? This is called Jalandhara chin lock. Your eyes are closed if that's comfortable. Inhale from the chest to the belly. Nod the chin in at the top of the inhale. Exhale from the pelvic floor all the way up to the chest. Notice how the back moves as you inhale. Feel it arching away from the floor. And notice how the back moves as you exhale, as the back sinks into the floor. As you pull up on the pelvic floor, the belly in, chest falls. One more time, if it's comfortable staying in the position. Again, you can adjust your arms. They can be wider, they can be on a bolster, they can be just by your sides. Maybe interlocking the fingers, if that feels good, or palms together, or hands on top of the head. Working with the breath, exhale, pelvic floor, draws in, pause, lower belly draws in, pause, belly button in, pause. Can you draw everything in and up? And hold after exhale. This is the Tadaka Mudra pose that we're in, creating that little pond with the belly, Mudra seal. Release the belly slightly, inhale into the chest, and then into the belly. I'm going to bring my feet together, a bit more classical. Exhale, pelvic floor, pause, lower belly, pause, belly button in,
Pause everything in and out. Hold after exhale, maybe draw a little bit more that Uddiyana Bandha, that upward flying stomach. And classically, you do lock the chin as well. It's the last bandha. You hold those locks and then start to release the stomach slightly before you inhale into the chest and belly. Adding these kramas, these steps, exhale pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, draw everything in and up, hold after exhale. Release. And release the hands down on your next exhale. So with our arms, we were working the upper back, neck, and shoulders, but we're connecting that to the lower body to help us ground and just arrive. So let's just work one leg at a time. Inhale. Let's bring the left or right arm up. So I'm going to start with my right so you can see me. Exhale, I'm going to draw the right leg in, using that core strength from the pelvic floor all the way to the belly button, and draw the knee in. Inhale, extend the leg up to where you can, and you might want to have the other knee bent to help with that. Exhale, touch the toe down as you bring the hand down. Inhale, extend the leg out as the arm comes up. Exhale, arm comes down. Very simple. It's the whole body working. Inhale, left arm coming up, breathing from the chest to the belly, nodding the chin in. Exhale, draw that left leg in from the pelvic floor all the way to the belly button, drawing the knee in. As the hand comes down, inhale, the leg comes up as the arm comes to the floor behind you. Again, you can bend that other leg if it feels more comfortable. Exhale, touching that toe down, using your core strength. So you bring that hand down. Inhale, extend up and out, leg straightening, arm up. Exhale, arm down. You can keep this going one leg at a time, or you can try both legs. Inhale, arms coming up. And you can do opposite arm to leg if you're doing one leg if you like. Exhale, draw both legs in to asanas. Inhale, Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. So we're putting three poses together. It's very Krishnacharya to have these vinyasas. Exhale, Apanasana, knees to chest, or I'm going to modify by bringing my toes forward. So I work with my core strength a bit as I pull up from the pelvic floor to the belly button. Inhale, extend out and up. And we'll just keep going to save that last step of the arms down. Exhale, draw in. Inhale, up. Exhale, touch down. Inhale, extend out. And again, you can do this with one leg at a time, starting with the arms up. Exhale, draw in. Inhale, extend up. Just feel this in the lower back, in the neck and shoulders. Exhale. Get that pelvic floor engaged, that mula bandha, that root lock from the pelvic floor to the belly button. Inhale, extend up. Last time. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. as you draw your knees in using the apana vayu, that downward flow of energy. Inhale, extend up to the sky, Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. Exhale, Apanasana, touch those toes down, modification. To use the core further away, the harder. And inhale, extend out. And rest for a moment. Sometimes the best thing you can do when your neck is hurting is to just lie down and to ground by actually connecting with the legs and feet. So do keep that in mind. Sometimes that is the medicine that is needed. Just to get into the legs and feet and out of the head. When you're ready, you're going to bend both knees. You can put a block between your legs if you like. If you like doing Vipadipedam with a block between your legs. I'm going to put my toes on the wall just to help stabilize me a bit because I'm not on a mat, but if you're on a mat, you will not need to do that. Inhale, lifting the hips up, and we're going to do this for the neck and shoulders. So bring the arms up and nod that chin in. As you exhale, you're going to come down and feel like someone's pulling your hands away from you. The end of the exhale, bring your hands down and maybe even your knees into Apanasana. So we're going to put these two poses together. Inhale, coming up, lifting the hips, bringing the arms overhead. Exhale, coming down and drawing the knees into the chest. And just keep that going. I'm going to get rid of my block. As you come down, leave your hands up there as long as possible and stretch away. And when you go into the Apanasana, use from the pelvic floor to the belly button to draw your knees in. And we're linking very much the upper and lower back here. Oh, I have someone trying to get in, so just keep going. Someone got kicked out.
Oh, no, just someone late. Okay. Let's keep that going.
Now, if you want, you can add one more pose, and that's Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. The legs up and the arms up, which is kind of fun before you go back to your Vipadipedam or bridge. This is right from Chennai, India, this sequence. We were doing this with Desigachar in November 2001. I thought, wow, that is very, very gentle, but very beautiful. Working the whole spine and the legs, so the whole body. We're moving it towards working with the whole body the last 2 weeks. Starting to enter that world today. And just finishing up. And let's just end with Apanasana. If you like, you can hug your knees with your hands on top or underneath and just stay here. And just rest. If that's not restful, you can bring your legs down, angle your knees in, or leave them wide. When you feel complete, we're going to move on to our first twist of the day. It's just very simple. windshield wiper, knees side to side. And then we're going to move quite quickly into adding the upper body. Inhale, center, exhale, side. So first step is you can turn your head the opposite way if you like. When you do that, try to bring the back of the head a bit more back so that you have better alignment. Just be careful with the alignment of the head. If this is not working for your neck, then leave your head center. This can be too much. Try to keep aware of the breath, movement, coordination. You can play with turning the opposite hand down to your knees. So the way your knees are going, you can turn your head the opposite way and the opposite hand down. Can be very soothing for the nervous system. This is something used in somatic experiencing work. To connect the whole body, mind together. Very soothing practice, very gentle. We're going to add on very soon. So I'm going to bring my knees to the left. And I'm just going to make sure I have lots of room here. So I'm going to sweep my hand across my heart. As my knees come to my left, I'm going to roll. Again, you might want a nice long blanket under your head or two of those soft blocks end on end under your head with a blanket over them. Inhale, center. You might need something to roll on if your chin is sticking up to the sky. So just be aware of that. Have that kind of discomfort. Going side to side. Inhale, center. And I like to actually self-massage the arms, the heart, because in the yoga tradition, we have these nadis or these little rivers of energy. And there's 72,000 of them, and there's a big river moving from the heart through the arms into the hands. And in physiology, we know that we have 3 nerves there, moving to the upper back, neck and shoulders. The more you roll, the more you'll get into stretching the back of the shoulder so that deltoid in the back body. Posterior deltoid area. See how that feels. I'm thinking some of you, this is going to feel really good. Just be careful if it's not. Now you can add on by adding a sundial of the arm overhead as you inhale. That takes it up a notch. It's kind of different. Make sure you've got room overhead. This is why I don't really like using a yoga mat because it's just not big enough. I like practicing with a carpet, actually, is my favorite, which is pretty traditional in India. They don't use yoga mats. So if you got a nice big carpet, very comfortable for these kinds of poses. And just finishing up. And notice how you feel. Maybe stretching your legs long. Just resting in a mini shavasana. We're going to keep going with these twists. We're going to do another twist. So I'm going to bend my knees. I'm going to bring my knees to my right, just so you can see it can be your left. And again, you might want to have, I'll just show you what I mean, that length of blocks under the head. And ideally you would have a mat or a blanket on top of them, just so that you're supported. Okay, so do that. If when you're lying down, your chin is sticking up, something like that. So that's not ideal alignment. You want the chin down. So there's a nice line from the top of the head to the base of the spine. So coming to one side. Now I'm bringing my knees quite high in. Now some of you will need to put a block under your knees of varying heights, or a pillow or a bolster. Because when you open, you might find you can't get that shoulder down. So we're focusing on the neck and shoulders here. So if that's the case, you can put a block of any height that helps you get that shoulder down. You can put a blanket under that shoulder that's open as well. You can put a block between the knees. That's more Iyengar style. You can hold those knees. You can flex those feet or leave them relaxed. Just try to open that left shoulder or right shoulder. And just stay here and breathe. This is going to be our stay pose. Now, some of you might want to play with stretching one or both legs. And I did a big walk today, so my legs are a little tight. So I'm going to say, oh, I think I want to use a belt, but this is optional on my foot. So I've got a little longer arm. Well, that feels much better. So you can always try that. And this is moving to a classical pose for the gut, but it also opens the shoulders very nicely. So this is great for the lower back. I know some of you, this is in your personal practice, some version of this. You can have that lower leg extended, could be to the wall. I'm going to keep mine bent, I think, tonight. And you could stretch both legs to the side. I'm just going to do one. So pick any version of this pose, Japara Parviti, twisting of the fire in the belly. And just breathe here. You're going to stay here. Now, if you can, add a hold after exhale. We worked on that in the beginning of the class. Pulling up on the pelvic floor to the lower belly. And just find your pose. That's your first step. And then breathe. Inhale 4 to 6 seconds. Exhale the same. Hold after exhale. About half the length of your exhale is a good guide. Some of you might do equal length of inhale, exhale, and hold after exhale. Notice where you feel this. Are you feeling it more in the hip, in the lower back, the side of the leg, the IT band? Or are you feeling it in the neck and shoulders? Now, some of you might be able to turn your head towards that open hand on the opposite side of where the leg is. So if you do that, turn the nose and then the back of the head back and turn the head. We worked on this movement last week dynamically. And you might be feeling like, oh, I need a block or a pillow to do that more successfully. So feel free to do that. My body gives a big no whenever I add that. So your body will tell you what it wants. Listen carefully. Over time, you might change your pose a little bit, go a little more deeply. Classically, you're holding the toes for those of you that can do that. It's a little tough, but I'm going to do it with a belt today because my leg's a bit tight. And again, you can keep that top leg bent and the bottom leg bent. We're going to go to the other side now, having stayed, I'm sure, at least 6 to 8 breaths. Just come out of it very gently. There is a whole vinyasa to move in and out of it. We're not going to do that because it's a bit complicated. Starting on the other side, draw yourself into side child's pose or fetal position. Try to align your shoulders with your hips and decide, do I want something under my head? And then start to open your shoulders, and then you'll be, oh, do I need something under my knees, my shins? So it might be as much as a bolster. Some of you might need a big pillow or a bolster, and some of you might not need anything. You can put a block between your legs as well to just get better alignment. You can flex those feet. Now check out your alignment. Is there a line from the top of your head to the base of your spine? When you twist, you want to have that alignment and twist from that place. And then decide, do I want to go further towards the classical pose? Do I want to stretch one leg out, hold the toes, put a block under the foot, put a belt, just have a little loop here. I particularly like this version myself. And one side might be very different than the other. You can even put that foot on the wall. So this is an easier side for me, so I can go right into the pose, but you might want to stay in some smaller version of it to begin. Now notice how this is feeling in the neck and shoulders. That right shoulder, is it coming down if the leg is to the left? It's not. Do you want to add some support under the leg, the knees to the left? How would it feel to turn your head away from that twist? Do you need some support under the head? Now, can you move into the breath? Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, hold after exhale. Inhale, release. And make any adjustments as you go. Listen to your body very carefully. Developing interoception, the ability to feel deeply within yourself. What you need. And that can change moment to moment, respecting that inner wisdom. We call this vivekam in yoga. Connecting to your intuition, your inner voice, your inner knowing. When you feel complete, starting to come out, untwisting the head, if you added that, maybe releasing into fetal position and then coming out. Moving into a counter pose, you might want to rest for a moment before you do that, or right away you might feel that you need to bring your knees to your chest. Now we're going to move right into Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. So inhale, legs up and arms up. You probably have a bunch of props around. Exhale, knees to chest. So just move away what you need to. Some of you, for your lower back, you might want to have a block underneath the sacrum. If you've got a tilted sacrum, that might feel good for you. Feel free to adjust those arms. So your arms could be at the sides, for example, rather than overhead. overhead doesn't work for everyone. So perhaps your pose will look something like this with the arms just at the sides rather than overhead. I know some of you dealing with shoulder injuries. Okay, if that's feeling comfortable, we're going to take this pose up a notch just to reconnect to that core. So I'm trying to connect the lower back and the upper back this class. Inhale, extend up. Exhale, stay here for a moment as you bring your arms down. Inhale, bring one leg towards the floor. Now, I'm going to bring my opposite arm up. You can bring both arms if you prefer. You can move just a little bit or a lot. You could bring your leg to a wall or to a chair, or some of you might bring it all the way down, just hovering above the floor. Start to exhale, then start to move. And feel like you're moving from your pelvic floor up to your belly button, what we call Mula Bandha. We're going to do the other side. I'm going to point the toes as I inhale. Inhaling, I'm moving my left leg, my right arm. And exhale, flexing, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chest falls. Just keep this going. So you don't have to move very far. You can also bend the knee and come down that way if that's easier. That other leg could be on a chair or a stool if you need more modifications. Now, if this is feeling easy for you, you can try staying in the pose and breathing here for one or more breaths before you come back up. When you move up, move from the pelvic floor up to the belly button. Some core work. Adding the arms so that we're also working with the upper back, neck, and shoulders. And just finishing up, bring your knees to your chest, rest. Sometimes do that for many minutes. You could do it longer, but I won't torture you too much tonight. Okay, we're going to move back into Tadaka Mudra. You can do this with straight legs or bent legs. And just maybe check out that you're straight. If you have a tendency not to be, just have a look at your feet if you can without wrenching your neck. Inhale, bring your arms up to your place. So again, they might just come up to the ceiling. They might come to a bolster behind you. They might come to the floor behind you. Exhale, bring one arm down. I'm going to bring down my right so you can see me. And at the end of the exhale, turn your head to the right, back of the head to the left, and just stay here for a few breaths. We did this last week. Inhale, you might untwist a little bit, and then exhale, twist a bit more. Again, you might want something under your head to do this more safely. That top arm, if you have an old shoulder injury, you might be feeling it around now. So adjust the height of that arm until it feels good in that shoulder. Try to connect the lower body with the upper body by focusing on that long exhale from the pelvic floor up to the belly button. So let's link the lower chakras to the upper chakras, the lower body to the upper body. And when you've had enough, you're going to very slowly inhale, untwist the head, bring the other arm up, perhaps nod the chin in, press the back of the head to the floor, perhaps. That feels good. When you're ready, exhale. Left arm coming down, turning your nose to the left, the back of the head to your top arm, the right. You do this with bent legs. It feels better on your lower back. So you exhale, turning your head a little bit more. Notice that top arm. Where does it want to be for that shoulder? We warmed up for this in the twists, just taking it a little more deeply. When you've had enough, start to untwist the head. It's pretty strong, so be careful. Inhale, arm coming up to meet the other one, tucking the chin in if that's comfortable. Press the back of the head into the floor if that's comfortable. You might feel this in your trapezius, that triangle, or sorry, diamond on your upper back. You might feel a big stretch somewhere in that big diamond of muscle. And when you're ready, release the arms down. And hopefully you're feeling a little more spacious in your heart, in your breath, in your mind. Okay, we're going to move into a little bit more strength work now. So I'm going to get you to take your 2 blocks, or I should have warned you about this actually before class, but you might need to run around. You could take a 5-pound weight. You could take a soup can or 2. 2 blocks is about 3 pounds. It's pretty gentle. 1 block is just 1.5 pounds. And I just wanted to show you how to do this because a lot of my students can't do chaturanga anymore, the yoga push-up, because of wrists, but they can do this to strengthen the arms. So I just want to introduce you to this work that I've been playing with. Krishnamacharya, he was known to use books in, I've got pictures. I can prove this. He used books. You can use books. This is the size of a book. He used big books as weights to intensify poses. So you can skip this or not, but if you feel like adding a little strength work, I'm going to show you this. So you're going to inhale, bring your arms up, and I like these blocks because they're exactly the right height, and I'm pressing my hands into them as I tuck my chin down. Now I might have a bolster behind me that I bring my arms to, tucking my chin in, and exhale, I'm coming down. This is also working with your core because of this lever of the arms, as well as your lower and upper back and your arms. Now, if you use more than 2 blocks, like 3 or 4, if you're using yoga blocks as your weights, I do recommend tying them together with a belt because then it's a lot less work to hold them. So I'm not going to do that just to make it easier, but just play with that. And just feel how this changes the pose for you. Now maybe stay in the pose for a breath or 2 at the top. And that again, using the blocks as weights can feel really nice because it pins down your hands a little bit and might help you release into your shoulders a bit more. So you can keep that going if you like. That feels good. Or I'm going to show you the next variation. So this is getting into those triceps a little bit more. Now in the standing classes, I do wall push-ups. You guys have seen those, some of you. But on the floor, you can do this. You can bring those blocks to the top of your head. So when I started this, I was shocked how weak my little triceps were. I could just do 2 of these. And now I generally use a weight because it's a little bit too easy for me. This is in place of chaturanga. That push-up, that yoga push-up that many of us as we age, we can't do anymore because of wrist and finger arthritis. I know some of you have some issues in your wrists, and your fingers. And it's just the joy of aging. These things start to happen. So if you're not feeling anything here, you can add more weight. Another block. I haven't tried it with my bolster, but that would be a lot of weight. And I've also noted doing this kind of work can create a little release for the nervous system that might be linked to something you're holding on to in your heart emotionally. So you might get a little bit of shaking. That happens, don't worry. Especially if there's been some sort of boundary. Crossing that you've experienced. Just finishing up this, and again, if you're doing this later, feel free to add a weight that's appropriate for your body. So I usually do that one with an 8-pound weight if I'm working with weights rather than blocks and books. The next one, I'm going to hold a block in each hand. And I'm going to do this with Supta Baddha Konasana. I'm going to bend my knees, butterfly, and I'm going to open my knees and bring the arms at the sides. And then exhale, I'm going to draw my knees together as I bring my hands to my heart. Just getting into those pec muscles, those pectoral muscles. Shoulders, trapezius, lots of different things going on here, as well as connecting the heart opening to the pelvic opening. I think just emotionally, this is really soothing to connect the lower centers to the upper centers, the opening of the heart to the opening of the emotions. The second chakra with the fourth chakra. Second chakra at the pelvis, more about those human emotions. And the heart, more about those more refined human emotions that we celebrate at this time of year. Peace and joy and love and all that yummy stuff that most of us are drawn to. And you can increase the weight if you feel comfortable. So I often do this with 5-pound weights in my own practice. And you can use books as Krishnamacharya did. Soup cans. When you're ready, maybe staying in the pose. And I'm going to put those blocks under my knees, just so that my opening is even on each side. And just enjoy this opening of the heart and the hips. And breathe here. The arms could be all the way overhead or to the sides. And just breathing here. Inhale, chest to belly. Exhale, belly to chest. Consider adding a hold after inhale now. A bit more bravana, expansive. Holding after inhale, half the length of the inhale or the same length. And exhale. Counting your breath inside your head, inhale 4 to maybe 12 seconds, exhale the same. Maybe holding after inhale, half the length of your inhale. Ujjayi pranayama, constricting the throat. And when you feel complete, drawing your knees together, maybe using your hands to do that. Bringing one leg at a time, carefully towards the chest. Again, we'll go back to Urdhva Prasarita Padasana or counter. Inhale, legs up, arms up. Exhale, knees to chest. You can add on more core work if you like, your choice, other variations of this pose. This is just as a counter, very simple. But if you want to add on, you can, of course, move from Tadaka Mudra to one leg up and then the other. We've been working on this, so this is harder variation. Of Urdhva Prasarita Padasana from Tadaka Mudra. Both legs much harder still, be careful. You don't have to come all the way down. And when you feel complete, move into restorative pose. I'm going to do a big chest opener with this bolster. You can use a pillow, you can use a rolled mat, a yoga mat, especially if you have a carpet around in your house to lie on, or a bed. You can roll a yoga mat and it will be the same length. We'll go from the top of your head to the base of your rib cage, and you can put a blanket or two over it. And if you want to bring your height up, you can actually put these blocks under a rolled mat.
So they can be here, a rolled mat on top and a blanket, and you can make a bolster that way. So I think a lot of you will have those kinds of things at home. For those of you who have a lot of sway in your lower back, you might want to add a pillow or block underneath your sacrum, your lower back. So first of all, just bringing the prop to the base of your rib cage, thereabouts, and lying down. You might need a pillow or blanket under your head. You might want to even put a block under back like this. There's so many variations of this, but that's a few. Just keep learning them, and then eventually you'll just go into the one you like in class and ignore all of those cues. So again, just make sure your chin is not up, but it's down. If it's not, put a blanket or prop under your head until your chin is lower than your nose and in line with your heart. I've been doing this pose a lot more the last few weeks. And it has reminded me that this pose actually helps me do my chaturanga push-ups and planks and all those things with much more ease, because it actually ends up helping my wrist. So shoulders are linked to your arms and your wrists, and sometimes a wrist problem can be a shoulder problem. In this pose, you can do some pranayama. Inhale into the chest, into the belly. Exhale, belly to chest. You can hold after inhale if you like, half the length of the inhale. And keep this going your own timing. Ujjayi pranayama. Constricting the throat, slowing down the breath with the valve created through that constriction of the throat. Letting go of the pranayama,
The lengthening of the breath to a breath awareness. Just feeling the breath move from the nostrils down to the belly as you inhale. And from the belly up and out through the nostrils as you exhale. Inhale in the nostrils and down. Exhale up from the belly up and out through the nostrils. Inhale in and down. Exhale up and out. Just following the natural rise and fall of the breath without controlling it, without any constriction of the throat. When you're ready, starting to move your hands and feet. Going onto one side. If you need more of a counter pose than this, go into child's pose. When you're ready, coming up to seated position to close together. Asatoma Satgamaya Om Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Om Mrityoma Amritangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Namaste. Namaskaram.